Hey, and welcome back to another episode of Create Explain. It's been well over a year since I did one of these episodes, but I'm excited to do it. I've had a lot of questions over on my main channel on how my main storage on the Just Create SMP works, and I just wanted to quickly show everybody. This is how it functions looks-wise. You go up to the stockkeeper, of course, and you request an item, which is then put into the barrel below it. You can then drop that item. I want to eventually add in a barrel to do this as well, but you can drop that item on here. It will be put into packages, go on this conveyor belt, follow these chain conveyors here and up to those frog ports right over there, which then picks them up. Items go out of that funnel and into the first available vault. And super simple, this vault setup here. We obviously have one source of input, well, two. We'll get to this one in a little bit. Here is where all the items that I input through that area goes to, and then they trickle down the system and goes into the first available vault. Currently, I think I'm only using the first 3, but if I eventually were to get enough items, they would go on this belt, down this chute, across here, down this chute, across here, up, and over to these while repeating the same sequence. Still just using 29% of their vault. And if you're wondering why those aren't 100%, that's because the way that vaults store items is it can only have a certain amount of different items. So they'll act as full even if they're technically not. But of course, all of the magic of the storage system happens behind the scenes with all of my portable storage interfaces connected up to the walls here on the backside. And I think the best way for me to show how this system works is in a creative copy. And the basis of the entire system is card assemblers. So to get these placed down into the world, you need a rail. Place the card assembler on that. You're going to need some way to power that before you bring in a minecart into it. And we're just going to work on the input here. So we're going to have a portable storage interface facing this direction. We're then going to have a portable storage interface on top of the minecart contraption. It can obviously be connected up by glue, but this right here is the basis of the system. We're then going to use some girders. It can be really any block that you can glue to the contraption. And we're going to get in another portable storage interface right over here. And another portable storage interface on this belt here. We're then going to glue these two bits together here. And a very important part is that you add in a barrel, otherwise this entire system won't work. My recommendation is also just to block in the minecart so that nothing pushes that. But if we turn this on here, these portable storage interfaces are going to connect up to each other. I'm going to put gray concrete on the filter there, and if we put that into this barrel here, something's going to happen. It's going to go in here, and then it's going to come out right over here. Because the way that contraptions work is if you input wherever you input on the contraption, it will always put it in the storage of said contraption. And then you can use any other portable storage interfaces on that contraption to output it. And basically what you're doing is transporting materials instantly. We can then deactivate this. And if we expand on this just a little further real quick, looking back at it, I probably shouldn't have split them up this differently, but I've gone ahead and glued up a few more portable storage interfaces where we can power that. They all do the kizzy. We then hop into this barrel and we can put in, let's say, 5 of those, 4 of those, and another 3 of those. Those are going to go out, and you're going to see that they all go out into their separate barrels because I've used some filters on theirs. And this is pretty much the base of my entire system and how it works and how I'm able to transport materials pretty much instantly from my vaults to my outputs. And now back on the SMP, you can see that this is how my system is set up. I've actually split it up to not be as big of contraptions. So it's 3 different contraptions, one connected up to each different side. And then those are put out into this area where they're then filtered. Theoretically, I could have this all be one giant contraption and use the filters that I displayed in the creator world, but I don't have it set up like that because I'd rather have a few smaller contraptions. But pretty much what this does is we got the glue up to the portable storage interfaces all over here, got a barrel of course, and that's all connected up to the portable storage interfaces and the packagers and stock links on our vaults. So whenever I request an item from all the way over here out of these vaults, the package will go out into this portable storage interface. It will then go into the contraption where it not instantly, but really fast goes out over here with the andesite funnels and then gets filtered off to whichever area I'm at. In this example, it's the one main storage access point in the storage room. And that's pretty much how it works. If you want to take a peek around at this, I've got the Create schematic uploaded on my Patreon, but we will also be releasing a free world download of the server once we're done with the season. And I did also say that we would get back to it and talk about this wall. What this wall is an extra bit of storage that I will eventually hook up to all of my automatic farms that will allow me to transfer the items that those farms create into my storage so that I can access them from right here and don't have to fly around as much. But that's not completely set up just yet. But when I set that up, maybe I'll do another episode of Create Explain showing how all of that works. And I hope that explains well enough how my storage room works. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them down below. If you are still confused and you want to discuss this a bit more, maybe I'm able to help, or anybody else in my Discord. So you should definitely join that and ask there, because it's a little easier place to communicate than the comment section. And if you haven't seen any episode of Create Explain before, I used to answer a couple of questions that I gotten in my comment sections that I could have a bit more of a discussion around, and I haven't done this in a while, and I really enjoyed it. So I did ask my Discord, and I think I found 2 questions that I'd want to talk about a little bit extra. One coming in from NeuroDev and the other one coming in from Rowan. If you want to ask a question that I answer in a future episode of this series, then post them in Discord or ask them in the comment section below. Now, NeuroDev asked what the first thing you would recommend to do when someone first launches the Create mod. And my answer to that would be start playing the world like you would start playing any other vanilla world. Don't put too much thought and time into the fact that it is a Create world at the start, because the early game of Create looks very similar to vanilla. And then once you start getting a little set up, mining some iron, save all the iron you get, big tip, you can start looking into how to automate certain things. So one of the big things when you make a new world is automating iron. Iron is a crucial part of the Create mod, and you need a lot of it. So that is definitely one of the first farms I personally would make. But I think the first ever Create farm I made in a series was a food farm, because that was the first thing I could think of that I'd want to automate, because food is a massive pain if you don't have a lot of it. So what I ended up doing is figuring out something that I wanted to automate, and in this case it was pork chops. So I learned how to breed animals using the Create mod, and I did this with a feature called the pondering feature. So if you have EMI or you craft the item, you can hover over an item and hold W. This will then bring up this little info box here where it explains how the item works. And this is my next big tip for someone just launching the Create mod. Look at the ponders. The ponders are your friends. They will help you immensely. I am pretty much self-taught with Creates. I've had a little bit of an easier time in certain situations where I've been able to ask some other YouTubers that I've gotten to know through myself doing YouTube, that I've been able to ask for some help and advice on a bit more advanced stuff that isn't shown in the pondering. But the ponder features gives a great overview into the Create mod and is definitely the first kind of step into learning. And this does kind of bring us into the third tip, and this is less what I do when I'm creating a new world or getting into the Create mod for the first time, but more of a tip as to how to stay more motivated and actually enjoy it when you are playing. And that is to try to design everything yourself. Pretty much everything I've made since I started playing the Create mod has been my own design. Create mod is super intuitive in my opinion, and it is really easy to learn. Now there are people like Polart who does great guides if you want to learn a little bit more and learn a bit how mechanics works, and those are great videos to give a watch. But I personally wouldn't go and find schematics and like tutorials on how to build farms, as it kind of takes the fun out of it for me. One of the big reasons why I really love the Create mod is the fact that I don't have to look up tutorials when I want to automate something. Like, there is no chance that I at the moment could make a wood farm in Minecraft without looking it up if I was in vanilla. But in Create, I can. And that's one of the really fun things about it, because it gives me the opportunity to like innovate and create something that's mine without having to learn complicated redstone. But that is my tip for people starting out with the Create mod. To sum it up a little bit, I'd say play it as you would any other world, and then start figuring out stuff you want to automate and learn how to automate those, and then you will pick up on how to use the Create mod along when you are automating them. But moving on to question number 2 from Rowan, which is how I come up with my color palettes and block palettes for my builds. And this is actually a pretty simple question. I'm use Pinterest a lot to find inspiration for my builds, and I highly recommend doing that yourself, especially looking up Minecraft builds if you're new to building, as it's a great way to learn and pick up on what other techniques people have found and are using. I personally been really enjoying lately using more and more concept art for my inspiration, as that brings me a bit away from accidentally ending up copying someone else's style and build, and it means I can create something that's a bit more mine. But one of the biggest things is find a lot of inspiration pictures. Don't just settle for one. Instead, find a good couple so that you don't end up copying someone too closely. But also, if you're not doing it to post it anywhere publicly, if you copy someone, if you like one of the builds I'm doing, feel free to copy it. I could not care less. If you are having fun, you're making something that you're enjoying, that's the most important part. But to get back to the question, finding inspiration is one of the big things. You can find it through YouTube, for other YouTubers. You can find it on Pinterest. You can find it on Discord servers where they have post your builds chat. There's a lot of places where you can find it. Instagram is another good one. And there you can just find a ton of block palettes, and I'd recommend making a flat world or something of the kind and just placing them down in there. I don't really have an up-to-date one anymore, but I used to do this a lot, where I have all my block palettes put into one area of my flat world. Something I should probably get back to, because it's a really easy way to just look at what you have and what you could use in builds. And then another thing, and this is really just something that comes with time and building for a long time, is once you start building more and more, you're going to learn what palettes and what blocks works together, and you're going to be able to just sort of pick from your brain, oh, okay, I got these blocks over here, so I want to use these ones over here to match these. And that is one of those hard things that you can't just really pick up. You have to just play around and actually build and learn what works together. And to get to the point where you can do that, you need to obviously find inspiration, which goes back to point number one. So that is pretty much how I end up finding my inspiration for my block palettes, and often shapes as well. Shapes is a really good thing that I look at, and just general inspiration for the projects that I want to do in this world. But that is both of those questions answered. So thank you to Rowan and Neurodev for asking those questions. And if you want to ask your own question, head over to my Discord. There's a channel called Questions for a Second Channel, or you can leave them down in the description and I'll try to remember, but the Discord I'm definitely more likely to see. And if you want anything else explained that I've done on the Just Create SMP so far, or something that I end up doing in the future, just let me know, and I'll see if I make another episode of Create Explain. But thank you so very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.